This is the 2018 Honda Accord. Back in November on my channel, I reviewed the 1.5 litre Touring, and I thought it was one of the best cars I reviewed on my channel at that point in time. And when I picked up this 2 litre, I was excited because really the things that I had problems with that past 1.5 still carry over here. The exterior styling I'm not a fan of. It looks just like it's got a fat face with a big chrome unibrow. I don't find the styling all that cohesive, but really that was the biggest fault that I had with that car. So let's get inside and see what this interior is all about. So the interior of the Honda Accord is what I think really pushes it into a space that you could almost call the class above, because everything is laid out so well in here. The materials are fantastic. You definitely have some hard plastics if you go searching for them. But what I love about this is just how all these buttons on the steering wheel down here, how they feel. They feel like they wouldn't be out of place in a Porsche. And this 8-inch screen that you see here is standard across the range. It has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and I truly believe it's one of the best in the business. Every single response is immediate. The transitions are pretty good too, and you also do have some hard buttons to the sides. You also do have a digital screen here that is 7 inches, that's standard as well, and you also have Honda's safety sensing technology as standard. And for someone like me, I could definitely sit behind myself, but with the sloping roofline, I would probably want to lean in and take up part of that middle seat. In this Touring, we also have wireless charging, heated and ventilated front seats up here. The rear seats, they're heated, a heads-up unit, and dual-zone climate control. But enough of the interior. Let's now go onto the road and see what this Accord is like to drive. We have the 2 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It produces 252 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. And you have 3 different driving modes. You have Econ, Normal, and Sport. They do pretty much exactly what you'd expect. I spend most of my time in Normal, and I've found that from time to time, if you are in the Eco mode, the car takes a bit too long to downshift. I don't really like that. One of the biggest fundamental differences between that 1.5 that I tested and the 2 litre are the transmissions. Now, that 1.5 had a CVT, which was a revelation. It's the first CVT I've ever driven that I thought was good. It had the electronic programming to make you think you were shifting gears, even though of course you weren't. You would still get that rubber band effect like you do with CVTs if you were merging onto the highway, but overall, that CVT really was something quite special. There is a noticeable difference between the fuel economies of both of these engines. Of course, the 2 litre is more powerful than 1.5. It has about 60 more horsepower, and you can definitely feel it, but the thing that stands out the most is the noise this thing makes. So if you put it into sport mode and you get a little liberal with that pedal, it does have a rather likable character. Now, when you go into sport mode, the steering weights up a bit, as you'd expect, and the gears are held at a higher RPM. The dashboard lights up a bit too for additional lunacy, and I love this feature. If you have your TAC setting, you also have a boost gauge. It is actually related to the Civic Type R's engine. It has the same block, but a lot of the major components like the pistons, the cams, the turbocharger, they're all different. Now, this is a real difference between the 1.5 and this 2 litre. You can have a variation in the character. I just went a little mad in that sport mode, turned that sport mode off, and now it's as comfortable and as refined as you want it to be. It rides really level. The only time you'll really notice bumps is if they are significant potholes or manhole covers. The steering in normal mode is weighted very nicely, and it always brakes very steadily, very flat, and I love that in a car. With these front seats, I like how you can lift the far end of the base up a bit to give a little more leg support, because for a tall guy like me, leg support is something that you typically find lacking in this segment of vehicle. It's not perfect, but having your legs up, put the seat down as far as you can, is a great feature. The steering wheel feels great in the hands too. One of the things that does let me down though is that it has a heated steering wheel and it never seems to get warm enough. And the trunk space, you have nothing to really worry about there. Yeah, the hinge arms are exposed, but you have so much space back there. I don't think you need to worry. One of the deceiving things with this car is that it almost has a fastback profile, and you would think that with that short deck it would have a small boot, but it definitely does not. So really the problems I have with this car is that the 10-speed seems to work brilliantly 80% of the time and not so well 20% of the time. The heated steering wheel isn't great, and it's definitely not a pretty car. Beyond that, I can't think of anything negatively to say about it. The Honda Accord offers everything that I could personally want out of a car. It's spacious, it's comfortable, it has a lot of technology, and it's really well made. With an as-tested price of just under $41,000, it's very competitive in its field as well. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and call this the best Accord ever because I have yet to drive this car with a manual transmission, which is available with the 1.5 and the 2-litre. But I don't think I would really be changing my mind and putting it on the top of my list because really, this Honda Accord's already there. So that's been everything from me. Thank you so much for taking the time to watching this video here on Motormouth Canada. My name is Max Landi. Thanks for watching.